Pour parler de makgeolli, on part rejoindre Julia dans un restaurant-bar spécialisé en makgeolli dans le quartier de Hongdae. Julia est un profil unique. Elle est australienne, a vécu pendant de nombreuses années en Corée et s'est spécialisée dans l'alcool traditionnel coréen.
Well, it's very nice to meet you all. My name is Julia, and I'm a specialist in Korean traditional alcohol. I've lived in Korea for about 13 years, and I've been researching and studying and doing everything there is to know about Korean alcohol for about 7 or 8 years. So basically, I'm very, very passionate about quality food and drink. And when I first came to Korea, there wasn't a lot of good quality alcohol information. So my mission is to upgrade your lives when it comes to trying better quality sour. Yeah.
So maybe you can explain to us a little bit like the different types of traditional alcohol that exist.
Sure. So you guys haven't tried anything at all yet. So perfect slate to understand. So what's really unique about Korean sour is that it comes from one recipe. You can make all these different drinks out of one technique. There's 3 ingredients: rice, water, and a fermentation starter called nuruk. Now nuruk is what's the magic ingredient. Nuruk will change rice into sugar and will change sugar into alcohol in one simultaneous process. So after you filter and you brew up, what you get is a very strong milky alcohol called wonju. And wonju is between 12 and 21% alcohol. It's pretty punchy, so it'll knock you out if you're not careful. But what you can do is let the sediment separate into 2 different layers. So because the rice is quite heavy, it will sink to the bottom when you put it in the fridge. And a golden clear layer will come to the top. And this golden clear layer is a category of alcohol called cheongju. And cheongju was the drink of the royal kings and queens back in the day. And they would scoop it off and give it to everybody in importance. And this leftover milky part, they didn't want to waste it because they don't want to waste anything in Korean cuisine. So they would add water to it and give it to all the villagers and all the people that wanted to drink it. That is what we call makgeolli. So makgeolli is actually a watered down alcohol of about 6 or 7% that's slightly milky. But this cheongju, this beautiful fragrant cheongju alcohol, you can drink it or you can distill it, and that is soju. So you'll see soju everywhere in Korea. It's very, very famous. It's not made that traditional style anymore, but it's basically distilled from the golden clear liquor at the top. So you can have these 3 different alcohols. You can have makgeolli, you can have cheongju, you can have soju, but it all comes from rice, water, and nuruk in the same fermentation process.
So Ju is soft?
Ju, between the 3, Ju is a suffix that means alcohol. So cheongju would be the softest and the cleanest, that's the clear. And I think cheongju is probably the closest you would be familiar with sake maybe. Sake is very clear because they polish the rice. They get rid of all the rice sediment, so it's very, very clear. We just use eating rice, so the resulting cheongju is quite yellow. It's very vibrant amber golden color, but the textures and flavors are quite similar. And makgeolli is kind of like your people's drink. It's got like a very heavy, milky, sort of carbonated, refreshing kind of flavor to it. Shall we try?
Le plastique. Yes. What is plastic? Is it plastic bottles most of the time, or?
It's a common question because they're not very pretty. Plastic bottles look kind of cheap. But actually, it's because in the 1970s, there was a shortage of glass. Originally, makgeolli bottles were done in glass, but when they was very expensive, they converted to plastic. And they never looked back for 2 reasons. One, this is unpasteurized, so there's live yeast that are creating CO2, so it's kind of like a bomb if you shake it.
Okay.
So these caps are specifically designed to have little grooves in them to allow the CO2 to come out. So when you mix it, you can actually then press it and push the CO2 out so that it doesn't explode when you open it. So if you think of a Coke can, right? When you shake up a Coke can, it goes everywhere. This is actually what we do to make sure that the makgeolli does not explode all over us. So you can see the layer maybe through the light there. So when you open it, you just make sure that it doesn't go up very far. Didn't go up at all, so we're good. And there you go, that's how you open it. And the second reason it's cheap. Super cheap.
Is there any specific way to serve it and drink it, the makgeolli?
Kind of glass or
Makgeolli generally comes in these larger cups because it's lower alcohol percentage. So if it's 6 or 7%, generally it'll come in a bigger cup. When someone serves you a drink in Korea, and actually when someone gives you anything in Korea, you should always receive it with 2 hands. So for example, if I'm about to pour you a drink, you would take your cup with 2 hands, and I would also pour with 2 hands, like so. It's milky. And you can see the bubbles, right? It's right? Oh, sorry. It's normal. Welcome to Korea. Didn't even think about that. You can do that. 1 shot. Just get that down.
It's very sweet and soft and light.
It's quite light, yeah. So I'll give you a cup as well. I maybe won't go as full. There you go. But there are some etiquette rules, so I'm pouring for you guys. When it comes to me, if I want a drink, I would never pour my own drink. It's considered quite rude to pour your own drink. So when it comes down to me, I would slowly, oh, I'm going to pour my own drink, and someone would grab the bottle from me, and I'd be, thank you, that's so nice of you. And I'd pick up my cup and I would receive the drink as well. There you go.
Okay, and if nobody takes
And no one takes it, you're like, oh, very sad. So that's why you go extremely slow, because towards the night people get really drunk and you're like, I'm getting it. So if you're friends, right, if you're kind of close to friends, that's a very formal way to do it. If you're friends, let's say I'm pouring my own drink and you don't want to take the bottle out of my hands, what you can do is actually touch my cup, because the point is the cup should be received. So for example, pretend like you're gonna pour your drink. I would touch your cup like this, and that's the same as me pouring for you. And if you're really cool and really young, you can go, Wi-Fi. So have you heard of that before? So it's a new young thing. So if she's over here, she's quite far from me, right? It's too annoying for me to touch her cup. So I go, Wi-Fi. And then it means like I'm touching your cup. Young and cool. I know, right? I like to keep current, you know? It's the most Korean thing I've ever heard, like bring in the internet, you know, like this. So then when we cheers, again, we always cheers with, oh sorry, I didn't get you a cup here. There you are. We always cheers. I'll pour this one here. There you are, that's for you. So we always cheers with 2 hands. So never like this, or if it's very far away, you can cheers like this, or you can go down your arm like this, so it's a little bit more comfortable for you. Generally, men will do this more than women will do. We'll go as close as we can, or go like this. So we say cheers. Cheers, 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 cheers. Now, before we take a sip, the youngest person always shows deference to the oldest person. So you would never drink in front of somebody. If you are the youngest at the table, you would turn away and drink away. So this is very age telling. I'll look at all of you. Right? Right? And this is all natural. No aspartame, no artificial sweeteners. This is my favorite makgeolli.
it's spicy.
Hechang.
It's spicy.
Yeah, like carbonated, sparkling. That carbonation, that's from live yeast. So that's not artificial. That's very much from them still digesting sugar and producing CO2. So this brewery is called Hechang. He means ocean. Chang is short for Chango, which means garage. So it's kind of like the ocean's garage, because the brewery is at the very, very bottom of Korea. In Haenam is where it is. Now this brewery has been open since 1927. But in 1927, that was when the Japanese occupation was in Korea. So the first owner of the brewery was actually Japanese. And when he had the brewery, he was making a very Japanese style product. He lived his life and he had no kids, so he had no one to give the brewery to, so he sold it. And the second owner, I think, was also Japanese. Third owner, same story, had no kids, he sold it. Third owner was Korean, was just repeating the process, making the same recipe, didn't really try and innovate or do anything new. And then he also had no kids that wanted to take over the brewery. And the current owner, who worked in city gas for 20 years, has no fermentation background, is just a office worker guy, was down at the brewery and he's like, I'll buy it, I'll take it off your hands. And he did, and he bought the brewery with no knowledge of makgeolli at all. And he was basically repeating the recipe. And after about a year, he was like, you know what? It's not that good. I wonder if I could just play around with it and make a new recipe without any study, no research, just changed things around. And he created this. And this is now the #1 selling makgeolli in most bars because it doesn't contain artificial sweeteners. He showed that it's possible to go from artificial sweetener recipes to non-artificial recipes and make an excellent product. And now it's like the go-to for makgeolli. Yeah, it's good. Very light, right? It's very drinkable.
That's why usually we say also that the girls like this drink a lot because it's easy for them to drink as well. It's not that
It's not hard soju, you know?
powerful.
Yeah, it's a shandy. You know, it's a little lighter. It's accessible, and it's very refreshing. Like if you've had a long day, you know, you'd think of a cold beer at the end of a day. This is that kind of equivalent of like, oh, I just want a big bowl of cold makgeolli to refresh you. So, yeah. Always, because it's not pasteurized. The yeasts are very active, so when it is in hot temperatures, they'll keep eating. So if you leave it out of the fridge for like an hour, it will go sour. So you want to make sure it's always refrigerated.
And you can keep open how long?
Once you've opened it, you should drink it within 24 hours.
Oh,
Yeah, don't leave it out because,
so it's for the dinner or something?
yeah, it's a dinner wine. You can think of it like sharing. So makgeolli is not really something we drink by ourselves. I mean, you can, and we do, but it's a sharing culture. So when you're out with friends, like you would share your dishes and share your makgeolli, and that's why they come in such large bottles. People often compare it to beer, like it's like the Korean rice beer. It is in a way, but beer is also something that you can just have by yourself in a 1-bottle can. These bottles are designed for you to share it with at least one other person. Because drinking 1 bottle is totally possible, but it's heavy because it's a lot of rice sediment. So you want to share it slowly with other people. So, yeah.
What about like, is there, in terms of food pairing, is
Yes.
there any recommendation or?
So makgeolli is really good when something is spicy because it does cool your mouth. So that's why I ordered this dish. This is a classic pairing. This is tofu and hot kimchi that's been fried with pork. The makgeolli pairs beautifully with something like this because it's just a nice combination of flavors, but it just eases your mouth a little bit if it's super spicy. Also, it goes well with fried dishes, so that's why these two are here too, because sometimes that oiliness, there's acidity in here that cuts through some of the fried elements that cleans your palate a little bit. And this would go well with cheongju, actually, because it's a lighter, more fragrant, delicate flavor. So makgeolli is good for anything that has a bit of fried element or something spicy.
Okay. And is this very spicy? Or?
No, not super, because I'll do just a quick check. No, it's more sweet than spicy. There's a spicy end. Yeah. Usually when you fry kimchi, sometimes they wash it. So wash some of the sauce off before they fry it, or they add sugar when they are cooking, so it sweetens it up a little bit. So when you fry kimchi, it releases some of that spice and becomes more sweet.
Une vidéo, c'est bien pour avoir un aperçu et comprendre ce que c'est, mais évidemment, rien ne remplace l'expérience et le fait de goûter. Ceci vaut aussi pour la cuisine coréenne que je vous invite à découvrir dans notre 10e et dernier épisode.